Okay, I'll report you guys to the coordinator. Don't worry. If you cannot switch on your cameras, you don't have the right to take the lessons either. All right, we're doing the last of all the 12 tenses, future perfect continuous tense. After which all our 12 tenses will be finished, and at max tomorrow we will revise all of them, okay? And we'll have a little exercise, reinforcement exercise of all the 12 tenses, okay? Looking at the structure and formation of the future perfect tense, future perfect continuous tense, sorry. It is just similar to what you have previously done. If you look at, let me just choose my color. If you look at, if you remember what we did on Thursday, we did the present perfect continuous. Now, in the present perfect continuous tense, you have the subject, has, or have, plus been, plus the verb in its ing form, and then comes your object and the rest of the sentence. Okay. Now, remember, has, have tells you whether the tense is, that the tense is in the present. Been tells you that the tense is perfect, and ing verb tells you that the tense is continuous. So present perfect continuous. Okay. When we instead of has, have, we write down had. Now had tells us that the tense is in the past, been tells us perfect, and ing tells us continuous. So had been plus ing is the past perfect continuous form. Has, have plus been plus ing is the present perfect continuous form. Okay. Now, on the other hand, contrary to this, if you want to write a tense in the future perfect, what will you have? Will. Will tells us that something is going to happen in the future. Something will happen in the future. Okay. Will plus have. No has over here. Why? Because future है. ठीक है, क्योंकि future हो रहा है इसलिए will have use होगा. ठीक है, will have plus been plus base verb and in its ing form, which is also called the present participle form. ठीक हो गया? Basic tense समझ आ गया हमें. ठीक है, इसका formation that is very easy to form. You have 3 helping verbs this time. Will, have, which is telling you about the future. Been tells you about the perfect, and the ing or the present participle tells you about the continuous or the progressive nature of the tense. ठीक हो गया? In the affirmative sentences, that is your regular everyday statements, you have the subject, will or shall. Remember, shall is used with I and we, first person pronoun. Okay? And also shall is used when you want to speak in a formal manner. If you want to remain informal, you are going to use will. Okay? Shall is used only when you want to be formal. Also, shall is used with I and we, which is the first person pronoun. ठीक हो गया ना? अच्छा. Again, you have the subject, will, shall, have, been, plus the present participle form of the verb, object, and at the end, you will have the time reference using the adverb since or for. Clear? Look at the examples. He will have been watering the plants for 2 hours. I will have been studying since 3 o'clock. Okay? It is not necessary that you have the object. You can remove the object as well, but the time reference is important. Okay? Fatma Noman, what's going on with your camera, bete? Yes, negative sentences. Now, in the negative sentences, what happens? You have the subject, will, shall, and after the first helping verb, you are going to add the negative word not. Then comes have, been, and the present participle or the verb in its ing form. Clear? Initially क्या था? Present में has या have के बाद आप not डाल रहे थे. ठीक है? तो ये hasn't, haven't बन जाता है. Past में had है और had के बाद you were adding not. So it would turn into hadn't. ठीक है? But over here, will क्योंकि आपको future का बता रहा है, इसलिए will के बाद you're going to add not. So if you want to change it into its contracted form, will not will change into won't. Remember, contractions हम informal writing में लिखते हैं, ठीक है? Formal writing में contractions नहीं लिखे जाते. Formal writings क्या होती हैं? Any official letter that you write to an office. Informal letters or informal writing is always the one that you write for your family and friends or your loved ones. Clear? Your stories are always informal. The letters are always formal. ठीक हो गया? Let's look at the same example that we did for the affirmative sentence. He will not have been watering the plants for 2 hours. I will not have been studying since 3 o'clock. Come to the interrogative. Now, interrogative sentences are the question statements. Now, what happens? Initially, let me compare it with the affirmative sentence. Okay? Now, over here in the affirmative sentence, you had the subject first and then came will, shall. Okay? Now, over here in the interrogative, you have will first and then comes your subject. Clear? बहुत easy है. सिर्फ क्या है? Will यहाँ के बजाय यहाँ पर आ गया. ठीक है? Instead of coming after the subject, the helping verb will has come in the beginning. Now, will plus subject plus have been plus the first form of verb or the based verb plus ing or simply the present participle form. Plus object or the rest of the sentence, which means your time reference. Now, will he have been watering the plants for 2 hours? Now, this is a mistake that I committed. Not a full stop, but a question mark. Will I have been studying since 3 o'clock? Look at the question mark. Now, over here, you have the same thing all over again, the construction of the tense. I will have been working for 4 hours. You will have been traveling for 2 days. Both these statements are affirmative sentences. The next 2 sentences are in the negative. She will not have been using the car. We will not have been waiting long. Will you have been playing football? And will they have been watching TV? Both these statements are in the interrogative. Now, the usage. The first usage that it is used to show duration before something in the future. Okay? We use the future perfect continuous to show that something will continue up until a particular event or time in the future. For 5 minutes, for 2 weeks, and since Friday are all durations which can be used with the future perfect continuous. Notice that this is related to the present perfect continuous and the past perfect continuous. However, with the future perfect continuous, the duration stops at or before a reference point in the future. Okay, this is the most important portion, that the duration stops before or at a reference point in the future. Okay. Now, if we look at this on a timeline, kya ho gaya? Okay, if we look at it on a timeline, if this is the timeline, this is the present, this is the past, and here is the future, the action will start. If this is the current time, okay, this is right now. Somewhere in the future, the action will begin, continue, and end also in the future. Okay? The action will begin in the future, continue, and end in the future. For example, they have been talking for they will have been talking for over an hour by the time Thomas arrives. Now, if you remember previously, when we were doing the present and the past perfect continuous, उसमें क्या था कि आपका एक टेंस अगर प्रेजेंट या पास्ट परफेक्ट है तो दूसरा टेंस जो है वो सिंपल प्रेजेंट और सिंपल पास्ट होगा respectively. Over here, on the other hand, agar aapka first action future perfect continuous mein hai, to your second action will be in the simple present, arrives. Okay? Present indefinite hai. She is going to have been working at the company for 3 years when it finally closes. Now, if you remember, again, मुझे पुरानी आप लोगों की book का reference देने की बहुत आदत है. If you remember from Oxford Discover, आप लोगों का first या second unit था, in which you guys did 2 ways of making future plans. Okay? The first method of making future plan is will have been plus ing, and the second is using going to plus have been plus ing. Okay? So there are 2 ways of making the future perfect continuous. Remember, this one is the most common method, and this because इसमें 2 दफा ing use होता है इसलिए थोड़ा सा confusing लगता है बच्चों को, but this is equally appropriate. It is not कि ये grammatically incorrect है. It is absolutely correct when it comes to the grammatical rules. But थोड़ा सा क्योंकि tricky होता है इसलिए. And just because it is important that I introduce this to you, मैंने इसको examples में डाल लिया. ठीक है? Now she is going to have been working at the company for 3 years when it closes. यानी कि 3 साल हो जाएंगे उसको जब कंपनी क्लोज करेगी. ठीक है? क्लोजिंग का एक्शन बाद में होगा और उसका टाइम पीरियड ऑफ वर्किंग इन द कंपनी 3 years उससे पहले हो चुका होगा, मगर दोनों काम फ्यूचर में होंगे. James will have been teaching at the university for more than a year by the time he leaves for Asia. Now, how long will you have been studying when you graduate? We are going to have been driving for over 3 days straight when we get to the anchorage. Now, question statement, when you finish your English course, will you have been living in New Zealand for over a year? No, I will not have been living there that long. Notice in the examples above that the reference points marked in italics are in the simple present. यही चीज मैंने आपको सबसे पहले शुरू में बता दी है, rather than the simple future. This is because these future events are in time clauses and you cannot use future tense in the time clause. ठीक है? क्योंकि ये time clause count होता है by the time Thomas arrives. ये पूरा जो है क्योंकि ये time clause count होता है, time clause में हम कभी भी future event का reference नहीं देते, वो हम हमेशा simple present या simple past use करते हैं as needed. Usage to cause of something in the future, बिल्कुल जिस तरह पहले भी हमने किया था कि cause and effect वाला एक रूल होता है. ठीक है? एक आपको हमेशा पता चलती है duration of something before another action happens. And second is cause, कि किसी चीज का cause और उसका result किस तरह निकलता है. Now Jason will be tired. Will be tired. कौन सा tense है? Future. Future कौन सा? Future past. Future simple. Can anybody tell me in the chat? जल्दी से बताएं. कौन सा tense है? Will be tired. Yes. What tenses will be tired? जल्दी से. Future perfect. Future past. जल्दी से. Heather says future perfect. I want more answers. फिर कहते हो सिर्फ मैम बोलती हैं. Future perfect. ईमान, चले देखते हैं. करें और बच्चे लिखें. अभी तो सिर्फ 4 ऑप्शंस आए हैं. फ्यूचर परफेक्ट कंटिन्यूअस नहीं है बेटा. कंटिन्यूअस में ing होता है. जी मेरा बेटा. मेरी बात सुनो. I have a class going on. Can you guys leave? Like you guys can fight later, please. I can sort out your problems later. हर घर की कहानी. Very good. Those of you who said that this is future perfect, yes it is. किस तरह से है future perfect? क्योंकि इसमें will be, oh sorry, wait, not will be. Will से आपको पता चल रहा है कि the action is future. Be and tired. Tired is the V3 form. Past participle form. ठीक है? Third form of the verb. ठीक है? क्योंकि third form of the verb use हुई है along with be, helping verb be, इसलिए will be tired जो है ये future perfect है. Perfect continuous इसलिए नहीं है क्योंकि continuous में हमेशा ing आता है. ठीक है? Will be tiring अगर होता तो ये future continuous होता. ठीक है? लेकिन will be tired है. ed third form of verb है. Third form of verb हमेशा perfect में आती है. ठीक है? Now अब हम पोस्टमार्टम करते हैं सेंटेंस का. Jason will be tired. Cause. अब इस सॉरी रिजल्ट है ये. Jason will be tired. रिजल्ट है, इफेक्ट है. अब इस इफेक्ट के पीछे कोई कॉज होगा ना. कॉज क्या होगा? When he gets home, because he will have been jogging for over an hour. Will have been jogging. Future perfect continuous है. ठीक है? ये कॉज है, वजह है. किस चीज की वजह है? इस इफेक्ट की. क्यों वो थका हुआ होगा? क्योंकि वो 1 घंटे से जॉगिंग कर रहा होगा. ठीक है? Jason will be tired. Why will Jason be tired? Because he will have been jogging for over an hour. 1 minute है. अच्छा. Claudia's English will be perfect. Again, will be perfect is future continuous. Oh, sorry, future perfect. Now, Claudia's English will be perfect when she returns to Germany. Now, why will she have perfect English? Because she is going to have been studying English in United States for 2 years. Okay? 2 साल से in America में she is going to have been studying English. That's why once she returns to Germany, she will be perfect in her English. ठीक है? Will be perfect. Will be perfect जो है ये आपका future perfect tense है and is going to have been studying future perfect continuous है. ठीक हो गया? अच्छा ये चीज मैं बता दूं, पेपर जो है ना अब आप लोगों का, the one specifically you guys will be giving, उसमें ये चीजें ना इस तरह ये जो मैं इंफॉर्मेशन अभी दे रही हूँ ये इंफॉर्मेशन भी पूछी जा सकती है, ठीक है, बिकॉज नाउ द पेपर इज गोइंग टू बी मोर ऑफ अ क्रिटिकल थिंकिंग सॉर्ट, ठीक है। उसमें आपको ये यूजेज दे देंगे और कहेंगे कि इस यूजेज के ऊपर कौन सा टेंस उतरता है, समझ आ रही है कि यानी ये यूजेज है, लेट्स सपोज कि जी फ्यूचर में एक एक्शन हो रहा है और उसका ये ड्यूरेशन है, ये 4 ऑप्शंस दिए हैं, इनमें से कौन सा टेंस इधर फिट होता है, किस टेंस की डेफिनेशन ये आपको दी हुई है, ठीक है। इस किस्म की चीजें आएंगी पेपर में, जो आप लोगों का नया जो मॉडल पेपर आया है ना फेडरल बोर्ड से, उसके अकॉर्डिंगली, ठीक है। फ्यूचर कंटिन्यूअस वर्सेस future perfect continuous tense. If you do not include a duration such as for 5 minutes, for 2 weeks, or since Friday, many English speakers choose to use the future continuous rather than the future perfect continuous. Now be careful because this can change the meaning of the sentence. Future continuous tense, now notice kya difference banta hai. When you use the future continuous tense, it emphasizes interrupted actions, ठीक है, ऐसे एक्शंस जो इंटरप्ट हो गए हो उनको एम्फसाइज करता है ये। Wait. On the other hand, future perfect continuous emphasizes a duration of time before something in the future. ठीक हो गया, जहां फ्यूचर कंटिन्यूअस इंटरप्टेड एक्शंस को एम्फसाइज करता है, फ्यूचर परफेक्ट कंटिन्यूअस ड्यूरेशन ऑफ टाइम को emphasize करता है before something happened in the future. Look at these examples to understand the concept. He will be tired because he will be exercising so hard. Now this sentence emphasizes that he will be tired because he will be exercising at that exact moment in the future. So this is future continuous. On the other hand, he will be tired because he will have been exercising so hard. Over here, the sentence emphasizes that he will be tired because he will have been exercising for a period of time. Okay? It is possible that he will still be exercising at that moment or that he will just have finished. This sentence, on the other hand, is the future perfect continuous tense. ठीक है, difference note किया, यहाँ पे क्या है, he will be tired because he will be exercising. वो थक जाएगा क्योंकि वो एक्सरसाइज कर रहा होगा, जबकि यहाँ पे वो थक जाएगा क्योंकि वो काफी देर से एक्सरसाइज कर रहा होगा, ठीक है। Remember, no future in time clause. पहले भी ये चीज एक्सप्लेन की थी कि टाइम क्लॉज में कभी भी हम फ्यूचर टेंस नहीं यूज करते, वहां पर हम प्रेजेंट simple present tense use करते हैं. Like all future forms, the present future perfect continuous cannot be used in clauses beginning with time. Expressions such as when, while, before, after, by the time, as soon as, if, unless, etc. Instead of future perfect continuous, present perfect continuous is used. You won't get a promotion until you will have been working here as long as Tim. Will have been working क्योंकि future perfect continuous है, इसलिए यहां पर ये incorrect है. You won't get a promotion until you have been working here as long as Tim. Because this is present perfect continuous, this is correct. ठीक हो गया? Also remember that non-continuous verbs also do not take the future perfect continuous. It is important to remember that non-continuous verbs cannot be used in continuous tense. Instead of using future perfect continuous, with these verbs, you must use the future perfect. Ned will have been having his driver's license for over 2 years will be incorrect. On the other hand, Ned will have had his driver's license for over 2 years will be correct. Okay? Why? Because have is a non-continuous verb. Now adverb placement, पहले भी हमने ये की थी पिछले दोनों tenses में, अभी भी हम करेंगे. Immediately, जिस तरह आप not will के बाद लगाते हैं, similarly will के फौरन बाद आपका adverb लिखा जाएगा. You will only have been waiting for a few minutes when her plane arrives. You will only have been waiting for a few minutes. Will you only have been waiting for a few minutes before her plane arrives? You are only going to have been waiting for a few minutes when her plane arrives. And are you only going to have been waiting for a few minutes when her plane arrives? Okay, with that, we come to the end of our slides. Here is your exercise for the day, just like I had for the previous 2 days. बहुत simple है. आपको ऊपर मैंने इसका formation भी, the formation is also given on the top so that you will have no problem sorting it out. And you can either take a printout of the exercise, or you can write it down easily in your notebooks, however you may please. The exercise will be posted on Google Classroom. Any question, raise your hand and I'll unmute you. ठीक है, कोई सवाल पूछना है? Are there any questions? I don't see a raised hand. Any question regarding the 3 tenses that we have done till now? Yes, Manur?
Ma'am, we're just practicing this tense. When aren't we going to do the change of voice or anything? Or we're going to apply these tenses into?
Darling, the reason why we are not doing any more translations. Normally, हम क्या करते थे? हम इनके साथ ना translations करवाते होते थे आपको. The reason why we're not doing them anymore is because there is a change of the paper pattern. ठीक है, अब आपके पेपर पैटर्न में क्या है कि आप लोगों को इंग्लिश का ये है कि मैं अब कल के लिए ना मैंने यही सोचा हुआ था कि मैं आप लोगों को नया पेपर पैटर्न दिखाती हूँ और उसकी पॉलिसी गाइडलाइंस हम करेंगे. ठीक है, because there is a change in the paper pattern, that's why there's no point in making you do it the way we did it earlier on. ठीक है, reason being आपका जो एक्टिव पैसिव है वो भी अब आता है पैसेज के फॉर्म में. एक्टिव पैसिव में करवाऊंगी, अभी भी करवाऊंगी आपको. ठीक है, लेकिन ट्रांसलेशंस अब उर्दू टू इंग्लिश नहीं है. अब क्या है, आपको इंग्लिश का पैसेज गिवन होगा, उसका उर्दू ट्रांसलेशन है. ठीक हो गया. एंड जो एक्टिव पैसेज भी है, पैसिव भी है, चेंज ऑफ वॉइस भी है, इट ऑल्सो कम्स इन द फॉर्म ऑफ अ पैराग्राफ. 5 मिनट्स दे दे मैडम मुझे. नहीं, आप मेरे पास ना बैठे ना, मैं डिस्ट्रैक्ट होती है. ठीक है, तो that is it. ठीक है, इसलिए the idea of doing this exercise was so that you will know, because ये तीनों tenses जो है perfect continuous है, तो थोड़ा tricky tense है. ठीक है, and also perfect continuous tense का change of voice नहीं होता, ये चीज याद रखनी है. ठीक है, कल के दिन में बल्कि कल मैं क्या करती हूँ, कल आपके साथ सारे टेंसेस रिवाइज करते हैं और फिर ये भी रिवाइज करते हैं कि कौन कौन से टेंस का एक्टिव टू पैसिव कन्वर्ट होता है. ठीक है, रिमेंबर परफेक्ट कंटिन्यूअस टेंस डज नॉट चेंज इट्स वॉइस. क्यों? क्योंकि अगर मैं इसका वॉइस चेंज करूंगी तो फिर इसमें कोई ना कोई एक एलिमेंट जो है ना वो आपका चेंज हो जाता है पास्ट में. ठीक है, और वो फिर वो परफेक्ट और कंटिन्यूअस दोनों जो है रिटेन नहीं कर पाता. क्लियर? इसलिए जो परफेक्ट कंटिन्यूअस टेंसेस होते हैं दे डू नॉट चेंज इनटू द. सोफिया प्लीज जाए यहां से, गुस्सा आ गया मुझको. अच्छा, तो जो परफेक्ट कंटिन्यूअस टेंसेस होते हैं वो जो है वो एक्टिव टू पैसिव वॉइस नहीं चाहिए होती. ठीक है, कल इंशाल्लाह 12 टेंसेस को करेंगे और परसों हम इंशाल्लाह पॉलिसी गाइडलाइंस और पेपर देखेंगे, so that you have a better understanding कि आप लोगों ने पेपर में करना क्या है, because of which हमारी टीचिंग स्ट्रैटेजी चेंज हो रही है. ठीक है, उसके बाद इंशाल्लाह यूनिट 11 स्टार्ट करेंगे. ठीक है, बेसिकली क्या है, समरी राइटिंग्स अब बहुत ज्यादा है आप लोगों की. मेरे ख्याल है अगली क्लास स्टार्ट होने लगी आप लोगों की. कितने बजे? 11 बजे. ठीक हो गया। बस मैं एक आखिरी मिनट लेती हूँ। लेसन सारा मैं पोस्ट कर दूंगी उसके ऊपर जीसी पे। द ओनली थिंग इज, ओ ठहरो, उर्दू में लगी हुई बातें करनी, डांट पड़ेगी।